Welcome to the show, everybody. You may have seen him on Dry Bar Comedy, Gotham Comedy Live, Access TV, or even heard him on Sirius XM Radio. His latest album, Husband, Father, Idiot, is available now on iTunes and Amazon. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome direct to your screen, Mark Poolos.
University of Lynchburg. Hello. I am live from parts unknown, basically my living room. So hopefully some people are logged on and can enjoy this hilarious live streaming comedy show. Obviously, things would have been quite a bit better if I could have been there with you and I could have seen your smiling faces and we could have had some back and forth. But this is what we're left with, and hope everybody's staying safe. It is good to be here. Basically, we're going to be together for about an hour. I'm going to do some stand-up comedy live just for you guys. And at the end, we'll do some questions and answers, a couple fun videos, and then we'll get out of here. So it is so good to see you guys. What I usually like to do when I come to university and I perform live is, off the top, I like to give a few tidbits about the university that you may or may not know. Some fun things about the University of Lynchburg. I don't know if you guys know this, is the university sits on I believe it's the Westover Hotel Resort, which was purchased for $13,500. And that is where the University of Lynchburg is now. It also was the first university, do you guys know this, to train nuclear physicists and engineers back in World War II-ish time. There was also a guy named Thomas Neely who went to the University of Lynchburg. He discovered some kind of a bug in an IBM system and became famous about it. I don't know much about computers. A couple famous graduates. You got Whit Hayden, who's a musician, he's a magician. And I think the biggest graduate was Deidre Quinn. She played Miss Texas in the Sandra Bullock film Miss Congeniality. So there you go. Those are your university tidbits for tonight's show. Hopefully you enjoyed those. So obviously I'm on lockdown. I am in quarantine at my house. My wife is a nurse. She's got the essential job. I'm just the joke maker. So I'm home with the kids pretty much all the time. We have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. Let me tell you, 6 months alone in a house with a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, things get rough. Every once in a while, I just got to go out in the garage, and my 4-year-old's like, "Where are you going, Daddy?" And I'm like, sometimes I just got to scream at the sky in the night because I just got to get out of here. So it's been interesting. Let me tell you that. Every once in a while, I go out for groceries. I go on that run. You got some people with the masks. They don't like the mask. They do like the mask. I wear a mask, okay? I don't really care where you sit with the masks. Here's my problem, okay? I don't need people blocking me arguing over the masks, okay? Because I am pre-diabetes, I am pre-high blood pressure, and I am current fat. And I don't need people messing with me. I put my mask on. I go in the grocery store. I swoop everything in the cart like it's, supermarket sweep. And I try to get out of the thing. I don't need two Karens at the checkout yelling at each other over mask or no mask. Just get out of my way. So it's pretty much been the weirdest time ever the last 6 months. Can you believe that 6 months ago, Tiger King came out? Do you remember that? Carol Baskins, 6 months ago? That was 6 months ago. That is nuts. This has been going on for 6 months. Oh my God. I can't even remember I can remember actually the last time I was on the road. Last time I was on the road, I went to the UP of Michigan to perform at a pizza place in a town of 900 people. And this is a fun story. I like to open my show by telling this story. I got to the gig, and they gave us free pizza, which was delicious. And I ate it all. And then I got a tummy ache and had to use the toilet. So the problem was I got in there, and this was before the show, thank goodness. I went in there. They had 3 toilet stalls, and not one of them had a door on it. And I was like, well, this is great. Nothing I enjoy more than pooping in public. I like to chat with people while I'm doing it. You know, I actually felt bad for the people coming in the bathroom. I was trying to give them a heads up. You know, I'd hear the bathroom door squeak open. I'd be like, I'm pooping in here, and there's no door on the toilet. You can just see it happening. So you might want to get out of here. And most people heeded my warning. Some did not. One guy came in like someone paid him money to see if there was a guy pooping on the toilet with no door. That's basically what was happening. He ran in, came around the corner, and sorry, my cat is messing with my light. This is why you can't do shows at home, because my stupid cat is trying to knock over my light. But he came in like someone paid him money to see if there was a guy pooping with no door in the toilet. And he comes running around the edge of the thing. He makes eye contact with me, and then he just leaves. And I'm like, what was that? I got so self-conscious at that point. I actually thought about turning around on the toilet and just sitting on like a horse, you know, because I was just done interacting with people. But you can't do that. That's just going to open up a whole new bag of issues, you know. Somebody comes in and sees that and is like, what is happening? And they go out to security like, I don't want to tell on anybody, but there's some weird stuff going on in that bathroom. There's a guy sitting on the toilet backwards with no pants on. Because if you turn around on the toilet, pants have to come off. There's no other way to do it. Like, you know, what, you're going to shoot your legs out behind you? You know, you're going to flip your feet up on the tank? You know, what are you, Cirque du Soleil? That's not going to happen. I told that joke once. Some guy got super mad. He was like, stop making fun of pooping backwards. I do it all the time. And I was like, all the time? What are you, 7? What are you pooping backwards for? And he was like, it's my house. It's relaxing, you know. I put the laptop up on the tank, you know, I zip through some Netflix series. I'm like, Netflix series? You might want to eat some fiber and see your doctor, you know. Yeah, half a Netflix series. I catch one Pokemon and I'm out of there, you know. I don't know what he's talking about, but travel a lot is pretty weird, man. I've spent, oh God, I think this September it's going to be 20 years I've been doing stand-up comedy, which is insane. I've driven almost 1 million miles across the country. And it's jaded me. I'm not going to lie. I think everyone is out to get me. I don't think anyone has genuine interests at all. It could be the most innocent looking thing. And I think it's a scam, you know, especially the cars broken down on the side of the road. It was like a minivan, family of 4. I'm like, nice try, you know, and I just keep going. You know, it's just like the horrible thoughts, they just come in real fast, you know. It was like 3 a.m. I pulled into a rest area on the side of the highway, and there was no cars. There was just a guy laying on the ground, and most people be like, that man needs help. I was immediately like, that's a serial killer, and that's how they do it. You know, they pretend to be dead, and you know, they just lay there, and then you go try to help them, and they just start stabbing you. And I was like, not tonight, you know. So I just drove away. And he was like, help, or something. I can't remember. But it's just all that all the time. There's just crazy people everywhere. And I don't know what's real. And I don't know I was in Chicago. I'm leaving the show. I'm going to my car. I walk past an alley. And way at the end of the alley, I hear some guy go, oh, help, my wife, hurry. And I was like, I'll call somebody. You know, I'm not going to run down a dark alley. His wife is probably just a trash bag with a wig on it, you know, and he's hiding in the dumpster with a sock full of quarters waiting to knock me out and throw me in a van. I'm not playing that game, right? And it happens to me all the time. I checked into this hotel one time and it was horrible. It was on the side of the highway. You know, I just had like $20, needed a place to sleep. I was in my room for 5 minutes and somebody's knocking on my door. And if I was a very trusting person, like most people are, you would probably think like, hey, that's probably the front desk clerk. Maybe I left my wallet in there. Just open the door. But not me. I was immediately like, yeah. And he was like, open the door. And I was like, nope. And he seemed surprised. He was like, aren't you the least bit curious on who this is? And I was like, not even a little bit. Curiosity killed the cat, but it ain't killing this idiot. Move it along, Psycho Joe. And then I heard him next door open the door. Like he was just waiting for some idiot to open the door so he could rob him. And that's why I think I'm the smart man in that situation, you know? But it's just all the time, everywhere I go, there's weirdo people. I find myself in horrible situations. I was in New York, went down the wrong street. I was in a real bad neighborhood. I actually watched a bunch of people rob a liquor store. And then they came outside and they got robbed by other robbers. And I was like, this is a horrible neighborhood. But then they were all wearing ski masks. They couldn't figure out who was with who. So they just all got in the same car and left together. So it was like, you know, a nice ending to the story. But yeah, it's just the story of my life. So it's hard to tell, you know, we're on camera, but I'm 6'7" and 350 pounds. I'm pretty big, and I'm a scaredy cat. I am scared of a lot of things a 40-year-old man should not be scared of. I'm scared of clowns and spiders, and God forbid a clown spider showed up, I would probably die. I don't even know how that would go down. He'd probably just drive into my kitchen in his tiny car and start juggling with his weird 8 arms, and I'd be dead. I'd be dead. You know, I got, like I said, 2 tiny daughters. I have a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I'm supposed to protect them, but it's not working out. A little while ago, they woke me up in the middle of the night, and they were like, Daddy, there's a monster in our closet. And I was like, we got to get out of here. Okay. Kick the window ladder out. We are gone. And they were like, what about Mommy? And I was like, she'll be fine. Okay. She kills the spiders for Daddy. Okay. She grabbed one with her bare hands the other day. She is, you know, she can handle herself. And I should tell you this too. My wife has no sympathy for my spider fear whatsoever. She puts fake spiders in my bed, fake spiders in my car, and she's scared of mice, right? And I put one live mouse in the bathtub. It was like World War III. You know, she's on the toilet with a broom, like, kill it, kill it, kill it. And I'm like, I can't kill it because it's from the Humane Society, and I got to return it by 6. It's just a loner mouse. So we got to get it out of here. I feel bad for her. She had like the worst nightmare of her entire life. So she has a Honda Civic. I don't know if anyone has a Honda Civic, but if you do, apparently there's a glitch in the venting system that allow mice to get into your car and nest, which is super gross. But we were driving around. We get home, we're pulling garbage out of the car, and it looks like it was gnawed on. And she actually looked at me and said, were you gnawing on garbage in my car? I'm like, I'm not that hungry, okay? And then she saw some mouse poop, and she dove out of the car, and she was like, oh my God, there's a mouse in my car. And I'm like, I don't even think that's a thing, you know? But to appease her that night, I put a glue trap in the back seat of the car, and I put a tiny piece of cheese on it, you know? I shaved it into a perfect triangle, you know, because I learned how to catch mice from 70s cartoons. And I put it in there, and we went to bed. And I woke up the next morning, and I was so surprised. There was a mouse on the glue trap. I was like, man, there was a mouse in her car. That's crazy. But I tried to spin it. I was like, honey, I got the mouse, so everything's fine. And she was like, everything's not fine. Sell that car immediately. And I'm like, honey, we can't afford to just sell it. We're underwater. And she's like, fine, you drive the mouse car. And I'm like, I don't want to drive the mouse car. What if I had babies in the trunk, you know? I don't need that, you know? I'm flying down the highway at 70 and climbs up on my shoulder. You know, like, we go to Chuck E. Cheese? I'm like, oh, God, I don't need that, right? But that's me, though. 6'7", 350, you know? Always getting in trouble. People always trying to fight me just because I'm a giant man. I don't even get it. And I've never been in a fight. I've never been trained to fight. I've never thrown a punch at anybody. I was trying to get across to you. If you see me somewhere and I'm in trouble, I need help, okay? Don't just drive away and be like, we'll call somebody. Like, don't do my jokes back to me, okay? Just help, you know? But it just seems like everywhere I go, somebody's always trying to start stuff with me, you know? They always come up to me, they bump into me, they say stuff to try to rile me up. I was in a bar one time, this guy bumped into me and he's like, watch where you're walking, fatso. And I'm like, man, where's that coming from? And he was like, how'd you get so fat? And I'm like, it's a horrible follow-up question, but an interesting story, because every time I sleep with your mom, she makes me a sandwich. So he stabbed me, and he was pretty quick about it. He was like, and I was like, oh, and then gravy sprayed out. That's all that's in there. Apparently, it's just gravy, just a thick layer of gravy. But that's just life, man. You know, I wish I could protect my family. I don't think it's going to happen. You know, the kids are nuts. My 4-year-old, her favorite thing to do is when I'm in the bathroom, she likes to storm in there and point at me the entire time and go, ew. And I'm like, don't you have some blocks to play with? I don't need to be poop shamed all day. Just get out of here. But that's what I got at home. It's just me and a house full of ladies, you know. Don't get me wrong, ladies are great. You know, they always smell great no matter what they're doing, you know. My wife, she's a nurse, you know, she'll work at the hospital for 8-10 hours, and then she'll come home and walk in and still smell like watermelon and flowers. And I'm like, how is it even possible? I'm like, honey, I literally just got out of the shower and I still smell like hamburger and armpits. Like, I mean, it was hot water, it was soap. I was hitting the hot spots. I don't know why I still smell like the bath mat. I don't get it. But there's something ladies have over guys. I'm going to talk about this for a sec, because I think we can agree as a group. A lot of us think it. Nobody ever says it. We might as well just get it out there and discuss it tonight online. Why lady farts are so bad. Can we talk about this? It never gets brought up. No one ever talks about it. It should be brought up. We should talk about it. We should have a conversation. Just discuss. You know, my theory is you're holding them in way too long. That's my theory. You know, it's just like you're trying to be ladies and hide it. But it's just like, you got to get it out of there. You know, don't hang on to it all day and wipe out a whole TGI Fridays bathroom. Just get it out of there, you know. And my wife's are the worst. Like, we got to get her checked out. She went to bed before me one night. I walked in there, and I'm not kidding. It was like a punch in the face. I was like, did the sewer line break in here? Is the cat dead? It was so bad. But it was like a fleeting thought. I was like, well, the door's open. It's got to go away at some point. No, it started like gaining strength. It was like eating itself and becoming a super fart. It was like the third thing in the room with us. And she sleeps with the fan on. So it was just swirling everywhere, like this giant fartnado in there. I couldn't get one clean breath of air so I could fall asleep. I had to go put Vicks Vapor Rub up my nostrils. That's a true story. But it's just like one of those things where it's just like, I know it's not something she can control. And she's trying to help, you know. We watching TV and she'll feel it coming on. She'll try to skedaddle out of the room like a lady. And now she's just farting the whole way. And I'm like, is there a chance you could stop crop dusting the whole house and just sit in one spot and let it happen? You know, just get in the closet, go fart in the closet. We'll call that the fart closet. You know, eventually you have to tear that side of the house off, but at least it'll be contained. Oh my God. And it would be fine. Here's the thing, guys. It would be fine if they just smelled bad and that was it. But the problem is they hang around forever. Okay. I'm like, honey, what are you eating? Helium? I mean, it's ridiculous. She ghost farts me all the time. Like, she'll go in the kitchen, she'll drop one, and she'll just move on with her life. And I'll go in there like an hour later and be like, did the dog poop in here? And she's like 4 rooms away. Like, no, I farted in there, but it was like an hour ago. I'm like, an hour ago, it is still in here making sandwiches, okay? And all the time, like, it's the worst in the winter. Like, she'll come home from work, and I don't know what it is, but she'll, like, I guess trying to be courteous, is she'll fart in the car and then come in the house. And then usually when it's cold out, I got to go start her car. And I don't want to, because I know it's waiting for me out there. And when it's super cold, it's like a false sense of security, because you get in there and you're like, well, it's not too bad. And then the heat kicks on, it just resurrects it in there. And you're like, you got me. But it's like, what are you going to do? You know, you're going to divorce over farts. You know, that'd be a landmark case. And it says you're divorcing over farts. Yeah, they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad. And she just had eggs with breakfast. She's going to start firing up here in about 40 seconds. You're going to rule my favorite toot sweet, you know. But it was just funny, too, because this has to be over 7 months ago, we were on a dinner, and one of the wives asked my wife, when was the moment you knew Mark was the guy? Like, when did you know Mark was the guy that you were going to marry? And she goes, that's easy. When he took credit for my fart at my best friend's wedding. I'm like, that's it? There was so much other stuff. A romantic like dinner on the river, or when I carried you over the threshold. None of this stuff. It was the time that I took credit for your fart. And it was such a silly story. Hang on, I just got to get a drink. So we went to this wedding, and I didn't know anybody at the wedding. I was just trying to get through the weekend. We get on this bus to go to the reception, and it's full of tons of people. And all I knew was that a fart had happened in the back of the bus. That's all I knew, because I was enjoying watching it kind of creep up and ruin people's day over and over again. And it got to and it was bad. This would have made Satan cry. It was just hot heat. It was just bothersome. And it was so bad that they were like not going to let it go. Like they needed a name. They were like, who did this? We need a name. I turned and I was laughing so hard. And I turned to enjoy the moment with my lady, and her face is buried in her hands. And I went, oh no, that's yours? Like, man, you took this whole bus down. It was just brutal, right? But she seemed embarrassed. So I was just like, just chivalry isn't dead. I just stood up and said, well, the first one's free. Next one's going to cost you. And that's what I do. That's what I do for my lady, Whole family's crazy. My mom, being on lockdown, she's decided to join Facebook. She joined it for the first time 6 months ago. So that's been fun watching that evolution. She's still trying to figure it out. Right now her cover picture is just a screenshot of her locked phone. That's what it is. And somehow last week she live streamed ordering a fish sandwich from McDonald's, and it ended up getting more views than my last stand-up video. So that was awesome. But her first day on Facebook, she couldn't figure out how to comment on status updates. So for like an hour, her status updates were just the comments for all the other status updates on Facebook, which people caught on to. I thought she was having a stroke because none of it made any sense. Her first comment on Facebook ever was, hi, Kathy. That was her first comment. And then her second one was like, 2 puppies? Question mark. And the third one kind of scared me. All it said was, finger caskets. That's what it said. So I did some digging. Turned out our cousin had posted a picture of himself eating a funnel cake. And my mom wanted to comment, funnel cakes. But her phone auto-corrected to finger caskets. And I'm like, Mom, what are you typing to your friends that your first autocorrects are fingers and caskets? But it's just been hilarious. Like, she has no sense of sarcasm or like funny pictures or memes on Facebook. I posted a picture, like I came home and the cat was passed out in a weird way. So I put a bunch of empty beer bottles around him and put that picture on Facebook. And my mom commented immediately. It just said, beer is very bad for cats. That was her comment. And then she liked her own comment. And I was like, listen, old lady, you are doing this wrong. And I might have to block you, But God bless her. She's trying, she's got the iPad, the iPhone. She's Skyping with the grandkids, It's helped us out a little bit, But it is funny sometimes when you catch an old person trying to figure out technology. At the gas station the other day, this old lady was trying to get money out of the red box. She was convinced it was the ATM. She just kept pushing buttons and looking around going, I just want money. Why does it keep giving me movies? It was priceless. But the best of all time, the best one I ever saw. I was driving to Montana, stopped to get gas in North Dakota. The gas station was pretty empty. There was one other guy. I get out of the car. It's an older gentleman. And he is screaming into the gas pump going, help, I need gas, $10. And I am like, what is happening? Okay. And then I hear the guy in the gas station. He's like, I said, come in here. And he's going over the loudspeaker. He's like, I said, come in here. I'll explain how to do it, sir. And this poor old man was like, come in where? He picked up the nozzle. He was like, hello? This phone smells like gas. And I felt bad, I knew it was time to help when he was trying to slide a check into the credit card swiper. And I was like, sir, I can't go on the rest of my day knowing that you're still here screaming at this gas pump. Please let me help you. And the best part of the whole story is he's got a car from the 70s, a hatchback, where the gas tank is located behind the back license plate. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before, but you go around to the back of the car and you grab a little tab and you pull the license plate down, and that's where the gas tank is. Never seen it. We're just walking around the car for at least a half an hour, pushing taillights, hubcaps. I'm crawling under the car. I lift the hood. I'm like, is this some kind of crazy car where you just spray the gasoline right into the engine compartment? Or do you put it right into the engine? Like, I don't get it. I mean, 30 minutes later, I had to walk away, and he was like, well, thanks a lot, idiot. And I was like, what are you getting mad at me for? I'm not the guy who bought a car without a gas tank. What kind of conversation was that? They saw you come in and they were like, well, let's get this guy. Sir, we got a car for you. It's called the Chevy One Tank. Comes with one tank of gas. When it runs out, just leave it on the side of the road. We'll find it. Like, what? And then it wasn't like maybe a month later, I saw a guy pull the license plate down. I felt like a pretty big doofus. But yeah, my dad, he's long passed, but he was pretty much the embodiment of the grumpy old man. He worked at a bank for 50 years, retired. And his favorite thing in retirement was returning things to stores. That was his favorite thing. And he loved it because he had a thing. He invented a thing called the switcheroo. And basically what would happen is if something broke at the house, he wouldn't throw it away. He would go and purchase a replica, bring it home, take the new one out, replace it with the broken one, immediately return it and get his money back. And I'm like, Dad, this is horrible. And he's like, I'm sticking it to the man. And I'm like, I think you're just stealing, okay? Because they can't resell that. But he used to do it all the time. I mean, Pete Poolos' stories are legendary. He bought a king-size bed set from Sears. This is a true story. The salesman told him that the bed would last for 10 years, guaranteed it. At 9 years and 8 months, the bed broke. And he loaded the bed up and took it back to Sears and said, this guy said it would last 10 years. Didn't last 9 years, 6 months. And they gave him a new bed. Yeah. How crazy is that? True story. I think another one that was great was he opened a checking account at a different bank. And, sometimes back in the day when you'd open a checking account, they would give you weird stuff like a toaster or like a gym bag or something. Well, this time they were giving away these tiny little TV radio things. It couldn't have been more than like this big. And it broke, and he brought it to Sears to get it fixed. Because Sears used to have a thing where you could bring any electronics or anything and they would fix it. It was like, a repair shop back in the day. He brought it there, they lost it. Okay. And so he argued with them and got a 32-inch television for free. Okay. This thing was like this big, and he got a 32-inch. And this is a true story. 2 months after that, Sears called and said, hey, we found your TV. And my dad said, wrong number, and hung up the phone. But he was brazen. He never got caught doing this stuff. He got so brazen, guys. He tried to return a 10-year-old shower head. Legendary story in our house. He gets a new one for my mom. It's got the massagers on it. 3 times the size of the old shower head. Taking down the old shower head. It's all rusted and mildewed. I think it came with the house when they bought it. And he puts it in the plastic snap case that the new one came in. There's no packaging. You could see the old shower head in there. And I think he's just throwing it away. And he goes, all right, let's head back to the store. And I'm like, are you insane? But I had to go with him. I had to watch it go down. And he walked up to the return counter as confident as I've ever seen my old man. And he puts the shower head down. The guy looks at it, super confused. And he goes, sir, this is obviously an old, rusted, mildewed shower head. And my dad, without hesitation, was like, imagine my surprise when I got it home. He's like, I bought a new one. Like, what are we doing? And he got the money. I don't think this guy even opened the register. I think he just handed him $7 out of his wallet is what he did. He's like, I'm not dealing with this today. Oh man, Pete Poolos, the legend, loved drinking when he was, doctor's like, you should cut down on the drinking. And he's like, why? I'm like 87. So the doctor's like, you got a point. Oh man. But I was going to talk about, God, this cat is the worst. Well, it's live comedy. I guess you guys should meet my cat. This is Nacho. Hello. Now get out of here. I'm doing live comedy for people. You got to get out of here, cat. Oh, man. But, doing the live, that's one good thing about doing home comedy shows is, you don't get stuck in any of those. So in Minnesota, I don't know how it is out there, around the University of Lynchburg in that area. But out here, like you get past a certain point in the night and they start shutting roads. They'll shut them down and they start checking every car that comes through looking for drunk drivers. And I get stuck in them all the time. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing ever. It's like entrapment. Why don't you just set up at the end of the Taco Bell drive-through, just boo, 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 boo. It's like fish in a barrel. And I get so nervous, man, I'm stone cold sober, but I'm nervous, I start creeping up to the front, doing weird stuff. I'm like chewing way too much gum. I put talk radio on. They'll think I'm smart, They start flashing flashlights in my eyes. I just completely lose all function in the car. I'm lowering the back windows. They're like, lower the front windows. I'm like, let's just go to jail. All right. It's just too much stress. The best DUI checkpoint story ever, like 23 with my buddy Jeff. We get caught. We were driving back to his house and we come around the corner and it's like, boom, DUI checkpoint. He sees it and he just pulls a U-turn and drives away from it. And I go, I don't think this is cool. He's like, it'll be fine. And then we were like immediately pulled over. And the cop's talking to my friend from my window. He's like, I don't know if you know, but that's a DUI checkpoint. My buddy's like, I know what it is. I'm just not going to do it. And the cop kind of laughed. He was like, well, I mean, you have to do it. And my buddy goes, oh, I have to. It was that moment he kicked open the door and started running. I was like, what? It was so out of nowhere. Like 1 minute he was there, the next minute he was jumping a fence. And the cop was so mad. He was like, did you know this was going to happen? I'm like, dude, I'm still here. Okay. I'm kind of mad myself, They pulled me out. They towed the car away. I find that Jeff the next day, I'm like, dude, what? What? He goes, what? I go, they towed your car. They know who you are. They're probably going to be here in 5 minutes. You might want to go into hiding. He's like, nah, that's fine. That wasn't my car. And I'm like, what? We're driving around in a stolen car? He's like, not technically. I did buy it off of Craigslist. I just never switched the title. So they're headed to Bob Jackson's house right about now. I was like, that is horrible. He's like, well, you got to do what you got to do. And if we're done here, I got to go buy another drinking car. Like this guy, he was just dumping cars every weekend. He's just ridiculous, man. But that's the road. It gets crazy out there. Every time I get to a new city, I usually find myself at the Walmarts. Walmarts is weird, man. It's a very strange and interesting place. It took me a little while to realize that no matter what state or city you were in, every Walmart is exactly the same. It's the same people in every single Walmart. It's like the same cast of characters. There's always a family breaking down in the frozen food section. There's always a husband and wife getting divorced in the pots and pans aisle. There's always that weird guy waist deep in the $5 DVD bin. He's like, they keep the good ones at the bottom, And he's like trying to find his way through a bunch of Hallmark movies. He's like, there it is. Terminator 1. We did it on DVD, not even Blu-ray, just regular DVD. But I think the thing that makes me laugh all the time is like the things that people wear to Walmart, because it's like you go into Target or JCPenney's or Macy's, wherever, everybody looks fine. And you go into Walmart and they're wearing things I've never seen a human wear outside of Walmart. I was in Memphis, Tennessee. I walked into a Walmart and there was a lady shopping who wasn't even wearing a shirt. She had just pulled her sweatpants up to her armpits. That's what she left the house in a sweatpants dress. And she was just standing next to the bananas for some reason. And I walked right up to her. I was like, I don't know what's on your list today? But near the top better be shirt. Okay. And then I looked in her cart. All she had in her cart were Peeps, those marshmallow Easter candies. I was like, I don't want to insult you, but if there was a picture next to insanity in the dictionary, this would be it. Just a lady in a sweatpants dress with a cart full of Peeps. Boom, insanity. Okay. When you get to late night Walmart, that's a lot of fun too, especially during quarantine times. I was in there at like 3 a.m. There was a guy sleeping in a tent in the sporting goods section. And I was like, hey, I'm not judging. Sometimes you got to get a couple winks, you know. I saw a guy shopping in a Snuggie one time at like 1 a.m. Those backwards blanket things. I was like, if that doesn't cry, I give up. I don't know what does. If you leave the house in flip-flops and a blanket with sleeves, you've given up. And he was wearing a belt. I was like, listen, you got time to put a belt on. You got time to put pants on, okay? But when I saw him, I was like, is that a wizard buying fiber bars? Like, why is there a wizard? Is somebody LARPing in this Walmart doing Dungeons and Dragons or something? And this is a weird fact. I don't know if you guys know this, but Walmart, corporate Walmart, actually encourages people, if they're tired while they're driving, to come sleep in their parking lots. You know, because when you're driving across country, you get tired, you know, first thought, rest area, maybe a truck stop, not the safest places in the world. Walmart's like, come sleep here. You know, like it's Good Samaritan thing, but it's also, you know, they're hoping that you go inside and get a candy bar and some drinks, you know, and you patronize the place. But they got lights and security. They're open 24 hours. They feel like it's a safer place. And I've done it once or twice. It's never the best idea. I think the worst was Mobile, Alabama, in August. It was 147 degrees at 3 a.m, just laying in my own sweat, trying to get a couple winks before I got to keep driving to Texas. It's about 3 or 4 in the morning. I get a knock on the window. That was jarring. I look over, there's a bearded man with no shirt, like to speak to me. So I rolled my window down and I said, can I help you? And he said, oh man, can you help with anything? And I said, sir, I am sleeping in my car at a Walmart parking lot. I am barely hanging on myself here. Okay. Do you have anything? And he gave me $2. So that was good. So I flipped it on him. And people love the self-checkout lanes at the Walmarts. I don't get it. Every time I walk past there, people are weighing fruit and looking up codes. I'm like, is this self-checkout or are you guys like auditioning for the job? You know, or if somebody's like really good at it, do they just hand you a vest? You're on aisle 7. Like, do I work here now? Because I gotta pick up my kids. You know, it's like a cashier fantasy camp. And I don't want to look down on it too much, you know. I use it every once in a while when I got to steal some stuff, but it's just like very minor stealing, okay? Mostly it's only in one very specific area, and that's apples, because I love apples. But the apple section of the grocery store is maddening, okay? There's like 12 different apples, 12 different prices. We're supposed to remember all the prices. No, I'm not playing that game. And God forbid you go for the Honeycrisp apples. Why are these the golden apples that are like $9 a bushel, you know? I don't play that game. I just fill up the bag with 12 different apples and punch in Red Delicious over and over again. Those horrible 80-cent apples. They're like a notch above a wax apple. And if you guys are wondering, it's 4422 is the code for a Red Delicious. Just memorize it. It's the same at every Walmart. Just punch it in for everything. Who cares? You know, it's like papayas, mangoes, 4422, shrimp, DVDs, 4422. The manager up front's losing his mind. We are killing it on apples today, guys. Call the orchards. We need another delivery. Oh, man. But that's the Walmarts, man. That's what you got to do. Apples. No, I don't. Every once in a while. Comedy's a good job. People ask what I did before comedy. A lot of different jobs. I was a jack of all trades. Worked at the front desk of a Motel 6. I like that because people come in and ask for things. There's no reason a Motel 6 would ever have it. One guy came in. He was like, hey, when's breakfast? And I go, whenever you go to McDonald's, because we don't have any breakfast. One guy actually threw me his car keys. He was like, hey, can you validate me? And I threw him right back. And I was like, you make a difference. Because that's how you do it, you know, wordplay. And the best was I don't know if you guys know, like 5-star hotels, the maids come by at night. They turn your bed down. They warm it up. They give you candy. It's called turn down service. Some guy actually called down to the Motel 6 front desk and asked if we had turn down service. And, I was bored. So I just went up there, gave him some M&Ms, and we watched Sports Center. It was a pretty nice little Sunday. I think the craziest job I ever had to do was worked at a casino dealing blackjack on the graveyard shift. That's an actual shift, graveyard. We started at 2 a.m. and I would work till 10 a.m. And I don't know if you've ever been in a casino at 4 a.m. There's some weird people walk around that place. I had one guy come in. He has 2 black eyes and a currently bleeding nose and wants to play blackjack. And I was like, sir, are you all right? He was like, you ever had one of those days where nothing went right? It felt like the world is out to get you, sonny. I'm like, yeah, I've had those days, old timer. And he was like, imagine that day lasted for 75 years. Like, that's a long, bad day. Let's play some cards. We'll do it. I think the funniest person ever, it was like 2, 3 a.m. This lady comes in the front doors. It was pretty empty, standing at my table by myself. Here she comes strolling up to my table. She's got a neck brace on, an arm brace, and a leg brace. And she starts coming to my blackjack table. And I was like, really? You're going to start gambling now? It looks like your luck has spread a little thin there, lady. Why don't you go home and eat some shamrocks and rub some rabbit's feet and try to turn this ship around? I was like, at what point in your day, after you broke your arm, neck, and leg, did you seriously say to yourself out loud, I'm feeling lucky? Like, when did that happen? Because I don't think that happened. And if that happened, you might want to go home and try again, okay? Because you're in bad shape. And if you had a thought, how could it get worse? You still got one good leg and one good arm, okay? It could get much worse. But comedy's always been the best, man. But it's never, perfect, Sometimes you get to do a show for 200-300 people, and sometimes you're, doing comedy in your living room for a live stream. This is how it works. You got to be versatile. You got to be able to be a chameleon and change as fast as you can. A couple summers ago, I got offered 9 shows in a place called Wisconsin Dells. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it's in Wisconsin. And it's like Branson. It's a town that's built just for tourism. And it's open from Memorial Day to Labor Day. It's just water slides and go-kart tracks, mini golf, just everything for the family. And I got hired to do 9 shows there. And I heard the money and I said, yep, and hung up the phone. I didn't find out what I was doing until I got there. I was part of a children's variety show that started at 8 a.m. every day. And I've never felt more alone in my entire life. I got shoved through the curtains every morning to an auditorium full of children, not parents and kids, like a mixture. You can kind of play to the parents. No, it was an entire auditorium of children. Like the families just drove up and kicked their kids out of the car and just screeched away and went to the bar or something. And I've never felt so out of my element. I got the first show, I was 9 jokes in, and I just started telling stories about animals that ended with a fart noise. That's all I was doing. And then the bear told the rabbit. And some kid in the back, he was like, this guy's the worst. And I'm like, oh man. I got off stage. I was pretty depressed. Decided I was going to cheer myself up. Went to the water park, Noah's Ark, by myself, which I didn't realize how creepy that would look. It was just just the dead of summer. It was just wall-to-wall families and me just wandering around trying to get into people's rafts. I'm like, can I get in here? No? All right. I mean, the Speedo was a bad idea, but that's all they had in the swim shop. But it was just weird being at a water park in your 40s, man. You look at those slides a bit different at this age. They had one called the Black Anaconda, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, man, if I got on that, I'll be out of commission for a week and a half. I got a bad back, a bad knee. I'm asking lifeguards questions they've never heard in their entire life. I'm like, sir, how long is this lazy river? I have irritable bowel syndrome. Are there clearly marked exits along the way? And then they had a ride in the back of the park that made no sense. It was called the Point of No Return. It was 90 feet straight down, last for 3 seconds. I was like, how is that fun? It's not going to be fun for me because I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to hit the bottom, and all you're going to hear is some guy go, Jimmy, we got to refill it. This giant guy just sucked all the water out of the slide. And can you call security? Because for some reason he's naked, you know? He's just wearing a headband, you know, because that was the Speedo, right? Let's call back. And the slide was one of those things where you like lay down, you know, and then they kind of shove you over the edge. They got new ones now where it's like a phone booth. You get in the phone booth, you know, and they shut the door and they hit the button and you just drop through the floor. And I'm like, I'm never doing that. I'd be too worried my love handles would get stuck, you know, like just like Augustus Gloop and Willy Wonka, just you know, I don't need some guy kicking me on the top of the head. Like, we got to get this guy out of here. We got a line all the way around the block. And I think I was the first guy ever to get to the end of the bottom part. I don't know if you guys know that. Like most people, they come to the bottom of that. It's like a water trough and you kind of hit it. And you're just kind of like, and then you just get off. I hit it and it was like, and they were like, everybody run. Oh, good times. And they have the biggest ripoff in retail history in Wisconsin Dells. I don't know if you guys know this. They have a place on the main drag called the Deer Park, where you pay $37.50 a person to pet and feed deer in Wisconsin. Guys, I hit 4 deer in the parking lot. Deer are everywhere. I mean, you want to pet a deer, open your hotel room. There's probably one standing right there. But I just watched every time I drove past that place, I was just praying that a bunch of, you know, hunters would just stumble in there and just wipe it out, just to watch that mousy lady on the news. It's a horrible scene at the deer park. They're all dead. They're tied to their trucks and high-fiving. But here's the thing. We should kill all the deer because deer are idiots. They just run into cars for no reason, you know, and it's terrifying. They just come out of no. And the worst part is they're just standing on the side of the road. Your headlights hit their little eyes and you're like, don't do it. Don't you do it. And then they do it. You're like, what went through your pea brain mind? You know, that thing's shiny. I'm going to headbutt it. Tell you my story. I'm sure a lot of people watching have hit a deer with their car, and it's terrifying. This is my story. I was in Montana, circa 2003. Cell phone coverage not the best. I didn't have a cell signal for like an hour and a half. I come around the bend of the road, and there's boom, just a giant deer in the road. And I swerve to try to miss him. I barely miss him. He takes the mirror off the side of my car, and I was just like, oh. If that's all that happened. I didn't even finish the sentence and it plowed into 2 more deer. Just my car destroyed. Didn't see another human for like 2 hours. It was just me, my destroyed car, and 2 corpses for like 2 hours. And after that, I don't know what happened, man. Things changed. I started hitting animals all the time. Like the weirdest I was like north of Ames, Iowa, and I hit a wild turkey. That was a good time. No warning whatsoever. I'm just flying up I-35 and it comes out of the ditch like duck hunt and I just nail it. Feathers everywhere. Spider webs my windshield. Rolls over the top of my car like a 70s cop movie. Lands on its feet and runs off in the ditch. And I went, what? I was just waiting for a farmer to come out and be like, that's Larry. He loves to get his feathers knocked off. Sorry. I mean, I was just the whole windshield was gone. I had to stick my head out the window and drive the rest of the way home, man. I got my car fixed. And it was a couple months after that, I was going to Oklahoma City. I got to Omaha and my car rolled 300,000 miles. So I said that was pretty cool. Took a picture, put it on Facebook. 9 minutes after that, I hit an armadillo. Yeah. In Nebraska. Okay. Guys, I've never seen an armadillo in my life, and I hit one. Okay. And here's the thing. It wasn't running over the road like it was headed home. It was headed directly towards my car like a raccoon paid him off to take me out. And I see him coming, and I'm just like, all the thoughts of armadillos. I'm like, well, I mean, I think they have a hard shell. You know, they'll probably, maybe I'll just bounce over the top of them and keep going. And that's not what happened. I hit him with my tire, and he skipped like a stone, shot through my wheel well, tore all the fiberglass out, and took the bumper with him as he shot out the side. It was the loudest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I got out of the car to assess the damage. The tire is in pristine condition. Everything around it gone. Vital engine parts are just hanging there. The car is still running somehow. I have no idea how. And the worst part is I still owe 3 payments on this car. I had to drive it like that for 3 months. And you're not going to believe it. Some guy on the internet bought that car for $1,200. And a couple months after that, a state trooper came to my door because he had run away from a DUI checkpoint. And I was like, oh, that guy bought my car for a drinking car. Boom. Oh, man. I don't even know how many people are watching. Well, we did pretty good. We did pretty good. I think so. I don't know. So at this part of the show, in a couple minutes, we'll start a few question and answers if people want to ask any questions. But I thought it would be cool to show you a couple fun videos. 20 years in the business, I've had some really fun times, met a lot of cool people. Long before he became super famous, I worked with Rory Scovel up in Canada. Hopefully you're familiar with Rory Scovel. He's everywhere. Now he's in movies and TV. But this is a funny video. I can't believe it's only got, I think, like 10,000 views. I think it's hilarious. So some backstory on the video. I don't know if you've ever seen the Grape Lady video, but so the Grape Lady video is this lady who was on the news and she was stomping grapes and she tripped and fell and like broke her sternum live on the air. And she was making a lot of crazy noises. So they had to cut away back to the newscasters and they were both like, oh, I hope she's okay. But then we realized, and this was long before like reaction videos were a big thing, but there was a ton of videos of people watching the video. That's all it was. It was a video of someone watching that video and laughing. It was the weirdest thing ever. So we decided to go even more meta and make a video of us watching a person watch the video. And then you kind of pan out and you see that Rory has his foot in a bucket. It's pretty funny. So if my guys got it loaded up, let's watch Rory and Mark watch the Grape Lady. Watch the Grape Lady.
They love it. They clearly love it. That's great. It's good clean comedy. Because you're just stomping the grape. That's all you're Oh God, that is too funny. That is too. Oh God! I can't breathe. Don't stop it. Don't stop it. Stop it. I can't breathe.
He's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he took a tough fall.
I can't.
I don't know, something silly to show you guys. That's Rory Scovel, if you guys are familiar with him. A lot of people too always ask me like what I think is like the best show I've ever done or the funnest show I've ever done. The most people I've ever performed for in 2017 to 2018 was a fun time. I got to tour with Michael Carbonaro from the Carbonaro Effect. I got to do a bunch of shows with the Impractical Jokers from True TV. It was a lot of fun. So one of the shows I got to perform at a hockey arena in Sioux Falls in front of, I think it was 5,000 people. It was just crazy. So they called me back on stage for the final bow, and it's just a short video. It was a lot of fun. This is kind of what it looked like from my point of view going out for the final bow with the Impractical Jokers in front of 5,000 people. So hope you guys enjoy it.
Call you out there or not, they may or may not. Okay.
love you guys. Thank you so much.
Travels with that? So creepy. That outfit is so creepy. Well, there it was. I know there's only a few people left watching. Thanks for sticking around till the end. I don't know if anybody has a question. If you do, type it into the thing there and I can answer it. And we'll let it go for a minute here or so. If nobody has a question, then we'll just close it out. And I don't know if anybody has a question. No? This will be up on this link probably forever until I shut down my YouTube channel. So if you got friends or staff around the school that didn't get a chance to tune in live, make sure you share the link. The recorded video will be on here for quite a while. And hopefully once the COVID pandemic is over, I can make the trip out to the University of Lynchburg and meet all you guys and see all your great faces and get that in the moment reaction that sometimes is needed for stand-up comedy. But God bless you guys. Make sure you stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you real soon. I'm Mark Poolos, and thanks so much for letting me be a part of your school, if only online for only an hour. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.